What's going on, guys? I'm Francisco Lindor. I'm out here at Montbread Academy. We are doing a baseball clinic run by Playball and Gatorade. I'm extremely excited. Can't wait for the whole day. This is, to me, this is a special time whenever I get to share some of my knowledge, share some of my time with the next generation, which is you guys. How excited is that? Are you ready to have fun? Yeah? We having fun? Because we're gonna have fun. I'm gonna have fun. I'm excited. You ready? Come on. There you go. Oh, yeah. That's a good swing. Let's see who can catch it. Hey! Good catch. Put your hands down. A little bit more. There you go, there you go. Ooh! Oh! It was great. The kids put good swings to it. It was good overall. I get an A.
Oh, that is wonderful. Francisco Lindor hanging out. Some news to pass along. The Mets, Francisco Lindor's team, reportedly met with star Japanese right-hander Hiroki Sasaki. Bruce Levine with this. Sasaki is meeting with the Cubs today as well. All meetings for Sasaki taking place in L.A., and maybe because of that, Buster Olney thinks the Dodgers are probably the betting favorites among the executives for Hiroki Sasaki. He's 23 years old. Last year in professional baseball in Japan, ERA 2.02. What do you think of this guy?
Big-time arm. I wouldn't say he's not the finished product. He's not what Senga is or was when he arrived with the Mets. More of a project, long, lanky, body type, good fastball, good assortment of off-speed pitches. I think the team that gets him, don't expect, if your favorite team gets him, that he's going to be the number one or number two guy in a rotation. I think for 2025, if he pitches in MLB, he'll be slotted somewhere around 3, 4, 5, depending on how much depth in the rotation.
If he lands in Los Angeles and joins Ohtani and Yamamoto, and they already have Glasnow and Blake Snell, that is by far the best rotation in all of baseball.
Yeah, and it's a rotation that needs some help because with the exception of Blake Snell, who did spend some time on the IL, Yamamoto spent some time, Glasnow spent a lot of time on the IL, Tony Gonsolin, Dustin May. The names are great, but they don't get a lot of innings and production out of that rotation through the long haul this season.
And I also wonder how many starters can you add and also think that Clayton Kershaw is definitely eventually going to sign with the Los Angeles Dodgers. Are we just taking that for granted?
Yes.
I mean,
now he's coming back.
I know he kind of admitted that to us after the World Series parade.
He will never wear another uniform in the big leagues other than the Dodgers. And I think the second World Series cemented that in stone. If he pitches again at the big league level, injuries or no, if he comes back, it will be with the Dodgers.
Okay, his entire career has been played in Dodger blue. You know, Max Kepler has played 10.
All right, the Friday before the holiday, and J.P. Morosi is with us for the very latest in the free agent and trade market. J.P., good morning. We're hearing Josh Naylor's name kicked around as a guy that's being coveted by some offensive-starved lineups, including one in Seattle. Is this real or is this smoke?
Matt and Harold, good morning. It is not fake news, as we sometimes hear in that drop on the soundboard, Matty. This is real. There have been some conversations between the Mariners and the Guardians about Josh Naylor, who is coming off a career best season from a power production standpoint. Better than 30 homers and 100 RBI. And we think about the Mariners and how they have often struggled to produce at those key corner positions. I wonder if this could be a great fit all the way around, and you consider, too, the impact that Naylor would have on Julio Rodriguez. Julio had a bit of a down year in 2024. He needs to bounce back for the Mariners to make the playoffs. Probably no better way to do that than to have Josh Naylor batting behind you. And, guys, this is, generally speaking, a pretty active part of the marketplace. Pete Alonso at first base on the free agent side is still out there. Christian Walker is still out there. Paul Goldschmidt is still out there. Carlos Santana, the ageless Santana, is still there. So for the Mariners, as much as there is a dramatic need for them at first base, they've got some good options, including this potential trade for Josh Naylor.
I can't believe you got through that discussion and the potential marriage of Naylor and the Mariners without mentioning he's a Canadian. Is he a British Columbia guy?
Yeah, he's from Vancouver.
He's from Mississauga, Ontario, just right outside of Toronto. So he is a Toronto area guy. Of course, he and his brother Bo made some history, the first brothers to play in the same playoff series since the Molinas about 2 decades ago. But yes, it could be a move west, close to the Canadian border. But yes, indeed, he's from the Toronto area.
Other side of Canada. Got it. That's,
so let me ask you this, JP. Is he messing up the first base market by being out there as a trade? And how long would a team have Naylor for?
Naylor has just 1 year left before free agency, which puts him in the same general service time class as a Ryan Mountcastle, was one more option. They're in a potential trade with the Baltimore Orioles. So I do think that the availability of an excellent trade option in Naylor, Harold, is slowing things up. I also believe that the general number of teams out there looking to add at first base, at least for a contract of 5 or 6 years, if that's what Pete Alonso was looking for, I'm just not sure that many teams are out there with a long-term deal for Alonso at this point in time, which I think ends up pointing towards maybe a shorter-term deal in free agency for someone like a Christian Walker. The Astros, though, are certainly open-minded, I believe, to adding a first baseman, especially given that they added Paredes over at third base. So, yes, I think the long answer to the short question, Harold, is that Naylor, Mountcastle, the trade options, I believe, are slowing up the market for Alonso and Walker.
I didn't see this coming. I did not see Naylor being available coming, because this guy's a pretty elite run producer and a big part of why the Guardians lineup is as good as it is now.
But this leads to the discussion we had the other day. Identify your guys and lock them up.
Yeah.
They want to go long-term with him. Yeah. But one guy that's out there, JP, is Mr. Sasaki.
Oh, yes, Roki Sasaki saying goodbye to Japan and headed stateside. I know this won't happen until the middle of January, but who are the hot teams in pursuit?
Well, the meetings in person have begun, and there was one for the Mets, according to Andy Martino of SNY, where the Mets met with Sasaki yesterday. So this is now, I'm not sure if we're at the finalist stage yet, but they're starting to narrow down the field. And we know the Mets have had this in-person meeting. Brian Cashman said, according to our own Brian Hope, that the Yankees have a meeting scheduled with Sasaki. I am of the mind that the Padres, who have already, as my understanding, had some dialogue with Sasaki, at least remotely. There's been some dialogue there. The Padres, the Dodgers, we know that they're likely part of that finalist group whenever they arrive to that juncture. So it's not clear to me if the Padres and Dodgers have already had their in-person meetings or if that's going to wait until after the first of the year or in the coming days. But we do believe Mets, Yankees, Padres, Dodgers, all in that conversation. And remember, the key thing here, he is still considered an international amateur. So this signing bonus, because of the international signing bonus rules, is likely to be somewhere in the $3 or $4 or $5 million range, as it was for Ohtani the first time he signed when he came over and signed with the Angels.
Ooh, interesting. I know that A.J. Preller has added Japanese to his language skill set. Maybe that moves the needle.
I want him to get into Loretta Stone.
He took a Loretta Stone class, and now he knows how to speak Japanese.
I know we're trying to move through this, but I want to ask you this, though. It was widely said that Ohtani didn't want to come east. He wanted to have a West Coast destination. Are we talking the same with Sasaki? If so, why is he meeting with the East Coast clubs? Quick answer.
Not the case. It's not the case, Harold. He is more broadly looking around the major leagues. The one thing, though, that his agent Joel Wolf said when he spoke at the winter meetings is that perhaps a mid-sized market would be more to Roki's comfortability. So while he's meeting with the New York teams, it is certainly not a conclusion that it's going to be a big market on either coast.
All right, lastly, Michael Lorenzen's out there as a free agent once again. We love Michael. He's a great dude. He's come on our show a lot. He's being marketed apparently as a two-way guy legitimately. Is this real, or is this just, hey, look, my guy can do both sides of the scorecard? Or do we really expect him to be used that way?
It is real, and there is a definite advantage to doing so. So credit to Ken Rosenthal. He had a great report on this recently in The Athletic about why it makes sense for Michael Lorenzen to be a two-way player. If you get a chance to be classified as that, which means at least 20 innings pitched and then at least 20 games as a position player or DH in which you have 3 plate appearances, if you get that designation, you no longer count against the 13 pitcher limit. There you see Michael in his offensive days there with the Reds. Guys, his OPS in his career is better than 700. There's a lot of everyday position players who don't have 700 OPS right now.
I love this.
He is a great athlete, Harold, and I remember him telling me during the playoffs, we were just having a casual conversation that, yeah, I want to try to come back as a position player at some point. I didn't realize it was going to be this soon, but the idea here, guys, is that, and Ken made this point in the story, you sign as a two-way player with the White Sox or the Marlins, more of a rebuilding team, accrue your necessary plate appearances there, and then at the deadline, you're traded to a contending team, and you do not count against their 13 pitcher limit once you have achieved those milestones. This is genius by Lorenzen and his agent, Ryan Hamill, and I think this idea has a lot of merit indeed.
Interesting. JP Morosi with the latest in the free agent market. Roki Sasaki, Josh Naylor. JP, thanks. Oh, can you hand me that?
Want me to answer that right now?
Yeah, pick it up.
Here we go.
I think it's.
Go ahead.
Hello, Hot Stove. Oh, it's Rosenthal. It's Rosenthal.
Oh, what's up, Ken?
How you feeling, Kenny?
I keep getting wind of different things that are being discussed.
That's interesting. What about this story that you broke of Michael Lorenzen being described as a two-way guy? Is that a feeling you have?
My gut is no, but my gut means nothing.
Well, you just gave Morosi the idea that he's going to be a two-way guy. What's wrong with you, man?
There's some drug dealing going on.
I don't have time for you. Hang up on Rosenthal.
Oh, my gosh. Lord, give me.
Let's take a break.
Oh, my.
Does Christopher Mad Dog Russo like Christmas?
Take a guess!
The answer is no. The answer is no. The likeness is unbelievable. I know that I've been accused of making things up in the celebrity lookalike game, but knowing how Doggy feels about holidays, where are you on the Christmas spectrum, Doggy? Are you good with this holiday, or do you categorize it like you do Thanksgiving as the worst day of the year?
And this is even worse this year, Matty and Harold, because you have to remember the Netflix stupid games. The NFL put the game on at 1 o'clock, the Kansas City-Pittsburgh game. Now, who in America who's got any kind of family can watch a football game on Netflix at 1 o'clock? Why did they do it? Because they wanted to make sure people in Pakistan can watch the game live in prime time, and we get burnt. There's no night game on Christmas in the NFL. I mean, that's the dumbest thing I've ever seen in my life. So the games are over at 6 o'clock. Now, Matt, can you watch the football in the afternoon on Wednesday? Oh, it drives me crazy.
Yeah,
so
you're
that
right.
Has me bothered. That ball has me bothered big time. Really bothered by
What
that.
are you going to do if the
point.
game ends by 6?
And there's 2 games, and they're going to be over by 6 o'clock. I mean, how about Christmas dinner? And they did this just to grab of the money to make sure we can Netflix the global company so they can watch the games in Europe. Who cares? How about the American football fan, for crying out loud? Oh, my God, I'm so bothered by that.
I know.
So, in other words, Kansas City, Pittsburgh at 1, I got no chance. And I don't even think I got much of a chance at Baltimore at Houston at 4:30. So I'm going to get home at 7 o'clock at night and have to watch Wonderful Life for the 9 millionth time, which I could care less about. Oh, my God, it drives me crazy.
You know what? We'll have Little
ahead.
Big League on MLB Network if you want to tune that in. I mean, we'll have some options.
Starring Tony Todd.
Or
Or
I can watch the Ken Burns 8th inning for the 9 billionth time in the last 13 years.
That's
I can watch that, too.
That's what we're advocating. Hey, let's ask you a little baseball here before we get elsewhere.
Gosh.
The offseason is hardly over. There are still a lot of big dominoes that are going to fall. But if you had to anoint a winner and a loser of the offseason so far, which teams would you put in those categories?
I tell you, I think the Yankees are a winner. I mean, the Yankees signed Fried, Bellinger, and Devin Williams for Soto, and it wasn't even nearly the money. So the Yankees, I think they've done a great job. No, they gave Fried too many years. We understand that. Williams will help that bullpen. And Bellinger at Yankee Stadium, he's versatile defensively, and he plays well in a big game. That is the Yankees Cashman did a great job. And I don't understand the Mets. Let me get this straight. They bring Soto in, and I know they're adverse to signing big pitchers because of Verlander, and obviously Scherzer didn't quite work out. The Mets are going to try to survive with the Gifford Cannings Montas and the Frankie Montases of the world and try to strike lightning in a bottle again after they did it this past year with Severino and Quintana and Minaya? That's asking a lot. I mean, they can hit, but they're starting pitching, which came up very short against L.A. That's not a good staff. And if you're going to give Soto $800 million and give his mother a clothing expense, why not go out there and go get yourself a starting pitcher?
Timeout. His mother a closing expense? I hadn't heard that one.
I hadn't heard that either. Did that?
Yeah, Bill Madden. Did you read Bill Madden last week in the New York Daily News? That, you know, he got 22 tickets in the seats behind home plate. He got maybe some private plane stuff, and his mom, some sort of clothing expense? Really? For $805 million? If that is true, and I didn't report it, if that is true, I mean, how in the world can you get a starting pitcher, for crying out loud? They need a starting pitcher. But your original question is this. The Yankees, with the 3 acquisitions, to me, did a great job. That's your original question.
Yeah, and they're not even finished yet. That's what's exciting.
Right.
What about your Giants? Are they going to sign Burns, or what's going on out there?
Well, I think they had a good chance to sign him there, Harold, but I think the fact that Snell got 8 years, now you're going to have to go, 9 years, $270 for Burns. Boy, you're going to give a pitcher $30 million a year for 9 years. That's never going to last. But maybe they'll do it. They lost Snell. They got the Dodgers and Padres in the same division. Adames is, listen, decent signing. He doesn't hit in a big game, but decent signing. But they need another starting pitcher. And it sounds like Burns, who went to St. Mary's, who's got some Bay Area roots, that he would be the guy. But if you give him $270 million, buyer beware. That's a lot of money for a starting pitcher.
What if you go like 5 years for 50?
That's not happening.
Something like that.
That's not happening.
Well, Fried got 8 years. If Fried got 8, how do you not give Burns 9?
Yeah. Right. Yep, something commensurate to start with, and likely something north of that. I know you're paying attention this weekend, the college football playoff season, the inaugural run. Who do you love? Who do you like out there in the playoff?
Well, 2 things I would say. A lot of pressure on Ohio State. Ryan Day needs to win the game. That's number 1. In Columbus with a very disgruntled fan base. Number 2, I better see good games out of SMU and Indiana. Indiana did nothing all year except beat up the Purdue's of the world. And SMU had 1 good half against Clemson, and everybody wanted to go throw them a bouquet and put them in the tournament. If they're out of the game tomorrow afternoon at halftime, 35-3 Penn State, you're going to hear from me on Monday at 3 o'clock. And I'll say something else, too. If Notre Dame, if Indiana walks into South Bend and gets blown out tonight, I'm going to go crazy there. Alabama, 3-loss team, didn't make it. Only 3 teams out of the SEC. And we're going to put Indiana and SMU in. They better be competitive. That's the first thing I'd say. And how about the empty seats? Did you see that? If you want to go to Happy Valley tomorrow, you can get a ticket for $22. If you want to go to South Bend tonight, the ticket, cheapest one, is $690.
Woo!
So think about the differences in the two places.
Wow.
How about that? Yes, sir. Interesting.
Steep ticket.
Do you have any thoughts on Oregon Ducks football? Harold's Oregon Ducks. He's waiting for some affirmation.
Well, here's what I want.
I don't want
Here's what I want for Harold. Here's what I want for Harold. Let's have Ohio State beat Tennessee, and let's have Harold have the worst New Year's Day in his life. 5:15 at the Rose Bowl. Ohio State makes up for the bad loss, and have them kill the Ducks and put Ohio State in the semifinal. I would love that so much, so I can make fun of him all year.
Oh.
So I'm going to root for Ohio State, and then they get their revenge against Oregon on New Year's Day at 5:15 in the Rose Bowl.
I'm not even worried about who we play. Everybody's talking about how bad the bracket is. We got the toughest bracket. You got to beat everybody anyway. I think all comers come. This is a good club, man. Got a quarterback in his 6th year. You don't fool Dylan Gabriel.
State,
he's ready.
Penn State.
And I will say this. When they played
Ohio
Ohio State at the beginning of the year, we're twice as good a team as we were then. We got so much better.
Penn State ran for how many yards did Penn State run for 2 weeks ago? About 300 yards on the
ground? Doesn't matter. We were keying on the tight end. It was about winning the game.
That's good stuff. He's coming right after you because Harold's going to be on the sidelines.
And by the way, Matt, enough of you with these over-unders. You know who Matt loved last year?
Who did I love?
On this show.
Who did I love?
the over of Chris Bryant with the home runs at 19 and a half.
God, I know.
What?
I loved it.
That was one of the worst picks.
Leave it
in
to
the
Doggy
history
to remind me of that.
procrastinating
He didn't
by
even
you.
come close to that.
Oh, my God, that was bad.
Is there
Two?
one baseball team over under that caught your attention? Because that stuff's out way earlier than it usually is. Did something grab you?
I didn't see it. I did see you talk about Seattle and the A's. And be careful about Harold. He came on our great little show on Sirius XM right before the postseason nicely. Harold and I have a nice relationship on the radio. He does a great job.
That was great.
He loved the Royals to beat the Yankees.
Hey,
What?
I was close, and I had you believing it, too.
Doggy, we appreciate you.
That was bad. I'm not done yet. What are you talking about? I got more to say.
I'm getting like
Go
woodshed
ahead.
talking.
What do you got?
Here.
What do you got? We'll just Oscar music.
We want to wish you, despite the Netflix NFL double dip, we want to wish you a Merry Christmas, you and your family. We love having you on every Friday. Happy holidays, bud.
We love you, Matt. Harold, keep it going. Go Oregon.
Love you, buddy.
皆さん、本日もこの動画をご視聴いただき、本当にありがとうございます。今日の内容はいかがでしたか？スポーツが持つ魅力と可能性、そしてそれを支える選手たちの努力や情熱を改めて感じる時間となったのではないでしょうか。特にフランシスコ・エンド選手が子供たちと共に過ごした時間は、まさに感動そのものでしたね。彼が子供たちと分かち合った笑顔、アドバイス、そして希望は未来のスター選手たちの大きなモチベーションとなることでしょう。このような場面に立ち会えるのはスポーツファンとして本当に特別な喜びですよね。さらに MLB の移籍市場では数多くの注目ポイントがありました。中でもロキ佐々木選手が日本を飛び出して新たな挑戦に臨むというニュースは多くのファンにとって驚きと興奮をもたらしました。彼がどのチームに行くのか、そしてそのチームでどのような活躍を見せるのか、これからの展開がとても楽しみです。彼の類まれな才能と成長への意欲は MLB でも間違いなく大きな注目を集めることでしょう。これに加え、ジョシュ・ネイラー選手やマイケル・レンゼン選手など多くの選手の動向も見逃せません。それぞれの選手が新天地でどのようなストーリーを紡ぐのか、私たちファンとしてその瞬間を共有できるのは本当に幸せなことです。そして NFL におけるクリスマスゲームについての議論もスポーツファンならではの熱いテーマでしたね。日程や時間の問題に賛否両論がある中で、結局のところ私たちがスポーツを愛する理由はそのドラマ性や瞬間の美しさにあるのではないでしょうか。どんな環境や状況でも選手たちは全力を尽くし、私たちに感動を届けてくれる。その努力と熱意に敬意を払いながら、これからも応援を続けていきましょう。さて、ここで少しだけチャンネルについてお話しさせてください。このチャンネルでは、スポーツに関する最新情報や心に残る名場面を皆さんと共に楽しむことを目指しています。動画を通して、選手たちの努力やチームの絆、そして試合の裏側にある感動をお届けできるよう、日々努力しています。もし、この動画を少しでも楽しんでいただけたなら、ぜひいいね、ボタンを押していただけると嬉しいです。それだけでなく、チャンネル登録をしていただくことで、最新の動画や特別なコンテンツを見逃さずに楽しんでいただけます。さらに、コメント欄では皆さんのご意見や感想、注目している選手やチームについて、ぜひ教えてください。皆さんとの交流が私たちの最大のモチベーションです。また、これからのスポーツシーズンも多くのドラマが待っています。どの試合も、どの選手も、それぞれの物語を持っています。私たちは、そのすべてを追いかけ、共有し、楽しむ仲間です。一緒にスポーツの素晴らしさを広めていきましょう。このチャンネルが 皆さんの日々に少しでも明るさやワクワク感を与えられる場所であることを願っています。最後になりますが、スポーツはただの試合ではありません。それはチームの絆や選手たちの努力、そしてファン同士のつながりを象徴するものです。どんなに困難な状況でも、選手たちがフィールドで見せる勇気や情熱は、私たちに希望と感動を届けてくれます。その瞬間を一緒に見届けられるのは、スポーツを愛する私たちの特権です。次回の動画でも、皆さんとその感動を共有できることを楽しみにしています。それでは、またお会いしましょう。本日もご視聴いただき、本当にありがとうございました。次の動画でお会いするまで、どうぞお元気で、そしてこれからも一緒にスポーツを楽しんでいきましょう。チャンネル登録をお忘れなく、いつも応援ありがとうございます。